Okay. So I had the unfortunate experience this past week of going to the ED. ED? ER? Yes, I was brought there in part because I was at the time nonverbal and unable to communicate. Um, so that's a whole bag of cats. No, bag of worms. No, can of worms. Anyways, so that's its whole thing. Um, but going nonverbal is something that actually happens fairly often to me. I am autistic, and so one of the things that sometimes happens to me is that I am not able to communicate verbally. Now, there's a bit of a difference between nonverbal and non-speaking. Nonverbal is like unable to communicate, and non-speaking is just not able to speak, but you can still like communicate in other manners. Um, so I'll explain how that works for me in a second. I just want to say this, what I experience at least is not the same as selective mutism, although it like might seem similar at first. Selective mutism is very much based in anxiety, and what I experience is much more of a like being overwhelmed. It's it's a bit of a difficult line to parse. So, why would I go nonverbal? Um, Usually it just means that I am overwhelmed. Commonly, this is because of sensory overstimulation. So, usually a combination of the senses, maybe it's really loud and it's really bright, or it smells really strong and it's really loud, or like whatever, like if there's a lot of people really close to, like physically very close to me, um, things like that. That can easily overwhelm me, and I will regress into not speaking. And then the other way this can happen is to become overwhelmed mentally. So that's kind of when my intrusive thoughts are really loud, kind of blocking everything else out. And it's just too much, and I have to. It's not a conscious decision, but like unconsciously, my body is like, it is too much. We have to cut off something. And a lot of times, what gets cut off is my speech. So when I mentioned the difference between nonverbal and non-speaking, typically I become nonverbal, like completely unable to communicate. I might even have trouble with like nodding my head yes or no. But as time goes on, and if I like remove myself from the situation, as I become more comfortable and less overwhelmed, my communication abilities do come back. So I usually go from like nonverbal to able to write things down to communicate, to be able to speak with just like one or two words at a time, and then slowly coming back to like my normal speech. So the reason I bring this up is because the ED visit gave me an unpleasant reminder of how a lot of people treat people who cannot talk. And that, of course, could be in a temporary sense, like it is for me, or in a permanent long term sense for some people who just cannot speak. And people are not nice to you if you can't speak. People seem to not understand that just because I can't speak doesn't mean I can't hear. So I will hear these comments that like nurses and doctors are making, like people who should be trying to work with me and take care of me, And like this particular time, there was one nurse who referred to me as, oh, that's the crazy chick who's refusing to talk to us. Um, I didn't like that very much. When I am nonverbal, it is not a choice. Um, and even trying to force myself to speak, a lot of times the words just don't even come out. And so I'll just be like, and I like it's it's not a choice. It's not something I would pick if I had a choice. I'm not doing it for attention. I'm doing it because I'm so overwhelmed that my brain can't handle the additional work of speaking. So, and this the comment this nurse made, that is not an isolated incident. This has happened to me multiple times before, and I can only imagine how much worse it is for people who can't talk all the time. Um, so like just be nice, especially if you're in a healthcare profession, especially if you often work with people who have different like psychiatric conditions and needs. Like just just some deep basic courtesy. The fact that I cannot speak does not make me any less deserving of respect. And to everyone out there who temporarily or permanently cannot speak, like, we all deserve the exact same respect you would give to a speaking person. And it really frustrates me that people in these positions of power, like nurse to patient, um, don't have no like empathy, no sympathy for this fact. It's very frustrating. It's something that I think definitely needs to change. And I think don't necessarily take my word for it. There are tons of non-speaking people out there who have written, really good stuff about this topic, and they, of course, experience it at a much higher level than I do. So, I guess to reiterate, be respectful. If someone cannot speak to you, and they typically can, do not get mad at them for not being able to speak. Be patient with them, be kind, give them the supports they need, whether that's removing them from a situation, accommodating them in some way, just giving them paper and pencil if that's a way of communication they're able to do. Just simple, I think it's simple. Simple stuff like that. It's not for attention. It's not about you. It's just part of the way some people's brains work. Yeah. And just a final thought, me not speaking doesn't mean that you can touch me without my permission. That that was something that frustrates me. I don't like being touched normally, unless like I am the one initiating it. Um, but just because I'm not speaking doesn't mean that you can like grab my face and like move my head around. It doesn't mean that you can like put your hands on my shoulders. It doesn't mean that you can. It's like an issue of consent, basically. Just because I can't speak at the moment does not mean I am giving you consent to touch me, make decisions about me and my health. Doesn't mean that you can badmouth me in front of me. I mean, you shouldn't do it like behind my back either, but especially in front of me. Yeah, that's my frustration. That's the topic of the video today. Yeah. In summary, people who are non-speaking, who are nonverbal, deserve the same respect that you would give to anybody else. Yeah. The end. Yeah. So that's all I had to say. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Bye.